Hi, I'm Marshall. I'm the owner of Going Gear, and I'm here in our store in Smyrna, Georgia. This is the extended review of the Olight SR Mini flashlight. Alright, so here we have my favorite flashlight out of all the lights we sell. This is the Olight SR Mini Intimidator. Normally the first part of these videos is when I take it out of the packaging and everything. This is actually my personal light. A lot of times I'll leave my personal opinions out of these videos because for me to say that, it's my favorite light, I use it all the time, I really like it, it'd be a lie most of the time. We sell hundreds of flashlights. I've done hundreds of videos. That said, this really is my favorite light. I really do use it all the time. I find it super, super useful. So looking at some of the specs on the box will tell us a pretty good story about the light. 2,800 lumens on max output, 16 hours of runtime on the lowest, which is around 200 lumens, and then 224 meters of beam distance. So 2,800 lumens, 224 meters. We have lights that are way fewer lumens that'll go much further beam distance than that, but this light is made to be a floodlight. It lights up a really wide area at once with a lot of light, which I find super, super useful. We don't have a lot of long distances around here, so I'd rather light up my entire yard or the inside of a building or just a really wide area at once instead of having that really narrow focused hotspot that gives you kind of that tunnel vision effect. But if you need the distance, that's definitely useful. I just don't have a lot of use for it, which is why I like the SR Mini so much. Powered by 3 18650s or 6 CR123s, 5-year warranty on the Olight flashlights now, which is a nice upgrade from their previous warranty. And as always, you can get the full specs on our site, goinggear.com, and of course you can buy the light from us there as well. A couple of the common questions we hear on lights a lot are, does this thing hold up and is it waterproof? So we'll address the second one first. Is it waterproof? Yes. You can't go diving with the thing. I mean, don't go, taking this on your next scuba trip, but you drop it in a puddle, you drop it in a shallow stream, you need to use it in the rain. It can definitely handle that. It's IPX8 rated, so it can handle, normal dust and water and that kind of stuff just fine. O-rings all over the place. And people ask how it holds up. This thing holds up really, really well. They put stainless steel bezels on the front of that because when you drop it, it tends to drop there on the bezel. And you can see these little impact points right here. That's where my 2-year-old daughter has dropped this thing on the concrete several times. So you can see how well it holds up. The drop of a few feet, it'll handle that just fine. Let's take a look at the accessories and stuff that you get with the light. So first thing we have here is the holster. Pretty nice holster. I'm not really a holster person. This is pretty much the only exception. This is about the only holster I use. It's just because I carry this light in my backpack a lot, or I'll put it in my camera bag or have it in my truck, and it's nice to protect the light and to protect other things from the light. If you have this in there with camera gear, you got the stainless steel bezel. This is a pretty burly chunk of metal. You don't want it scratching up other things, or if you drop it on the ground, it's nice to have that little bit of extra impact protection. Or if you want to keep it on your belt or your pack or anywhere else, it's a nice holster for doing that. You can see the different attachment points and stuff that you got, and then the hook and loop that goes over the front. Go and pull the light out of that. Show you the other stuff that you get. Pretty nice lanyard. I do not use lanyards, but I know a lot of people do, and they have a nice little swiveling lanyard. Got some nice cordage on there, and you got the adjustment on there. Pretty nice lanyard, and the lanyard attachment point is right there in case you do want to use the lanyard. All your paperwork, so you have the user manual, warranty information about other products from Olight. Their user manual is definitely worth the read. I say this in a lot of my videos, but Olight is one of the ones that does a really good job on their user manual, especially since they started working with their US office. They have really nice packaging, really nice website, and really nice user manual. So nice flow chart that shows you the interface of the light. You've got the specifications, diagram of the light, all kinds of good information in there. Other stuff that you have, so you have these battery tubes. A lot of people ask what these are for. These are for using CR123 batteries. So if you want to use CR123 batteries, the light is compatible with 6 CR123s. You slide them in here. They kind of help keep them from rattling around inside the battery tube. They're not necessary. They're just a nice little option. You can also hold your CR123s in there. If you want to use them, they're there. They come included with the light. A couple spare O-rings. If you ever happen to damage the O-rings, all right, go and put that stuff back in there, slide it out of the way. Here is the light. Let's take a little bit closer look at the thing. Actually, before we do that, let me show you an optional accessory that you can get. So this is an optional bezel that you can put on there. Has a couple prongs on there. Looks pretty cool. So it comes with this flat stainless steel bezel. You can replace it with the one with the 2 prongs. And one of the reasons they put 2 prongs instead of 3 or 4, we get asked this a lot, is because the light does get pretty hot when it's turned on. They don't want you setting it down on the table like that. Obviously you can do it with the flat bezel, but the switch lights up, so you do know when it's turned on. This is just another safety step, so if you actually accidentally happen to set it down like that, it'll fall over. And you know, if you ever do want to actually set it down on a table, you can always do it on the tail cap. So pretty cool option, cool look to it, some additional protection for the light, and it comes with an Allen wrench and some spare screws to attach it. Okay, let's take a closer look at the light. Show you this little guy. So you have that square knurling that Olight does on a lot of their flashlights. Pretty cool look to it. I really like just the designs of Olight flashlights. They're probably my favorite flashlight company. They do a lot of really nice stuff, a lot of nice innovations, and their stuff just looks cool. You know, a lot of these flashlight companies, they focus on the technology, and they don't really focus on the aesthetics. You know, the aesthetics aren't crucial. You know, you don't have to have it looking nice, but if you're going to carry this thing around, you're going to use it all the time, why not have something that looks cool? So again, there's your lanyard attachment point. You got your tail cap on the back. There's the switch, completely controls the interface. It'll light up when the light turns on. We'll show you that better when we put batteries in here. Lots of heat sinking, lots of surface area to help dissipate that heat. 2,800 lumens and something that fits in your hand, nice and compact body. There's a lot of heat that's going to come off this thing. So lots of surface area to help dissipate that heat. And then there is the Cree XML2 LEDs down in there. So you got 3 Cree XML2 LEDs covered by that acrylic lens. There's your stainless steel bezel. Whole lot of output coming out of this little guy, so you can imagine how it's going to get warm. It's not going to burn your hand or anything like that, and we'll talk more about the interface in a little bit and how it protects you from doing anything where it's going to burn the light or yourself or anything like that here in just a little while. So we'll zoom back out. We're going to go ahead and put some batteries in here. So again, you can use CR123s. I only recommend CR123s if you got issued them, if you're a police officer or something like that, and you've got 400 of them sitting around and you just get them for free. Everybody else, I recommend 18650s. Actually, CR123s if you're going to be rarely using the light. So if you put this in your truck and you think you're only going to be using it every 6 months, use CR123s because they have great shelf life, really great temperature operating range. Everybody else that's going to be using this light on a regular basis, which 2,800 lumens in a nice compact light, why wouldn't you be using this all the time? I mean, just showing it off to your friends, it's a pretty fun little thing as far as, just showing it off, but it's also a very useful tool. So most people that get this tend to use it a lot. And for most people, 18650s are the way to go because they're rechargeable. They're a little bit more of an upfront cost, but if you get the light, you get the batteries, you get the charger from us in a bundle, it'll save you money upfront. So anyway, battery carrier is integrated into the light. You don't have a separate battery carrier that you take out and lose or break or anything like that. It's actually integrated into the body, so you don't have to worry about losing that part. Tail cap, this actually spins around, so you have this prong to help you orient. So you just stick the prong in, and it'll orient you in the right place. You can screw the tail cap back on and be good to go. All right, let's talk about the interface on it. Interface is controlled by this side switch. Hear a lot of people complaining about side switches. And for a lot of lights, side switches don't make sense. Lights that are a little bit larger and actually lights that are smaller, I really like side switch lights. Maybe for tactical lights where you're using it with a handgun or something like that, they don't make a lot of sense. But for most people, side switches I find are a lot easier to use because this is kind of your natural holding orientation. You know, when I'm using a light, I'm usually holding it like this, so I like having a side switch on there. And people talk about being able to find them. Olight does a really good job of being able to activate it even if you don't necessarily have the ability to instantly find it, because what you can do is just put your hand around the light and squeeze. And this is the same for most of their SR series of lights, where that's going to turn the light on. Even still, if you do that and you squeeze and it doesn't turn it on, you can usually feel right away where it is. So the side switch is easy to find just by touch and feel, let alone all the machining and the ways that they make it easy to find just by going like that. Anyway, interface on this, tap the light, turn it on, double click, cycles through your different lower outputs. 3 times will go into strobe. You do not have a memory for strobe, you do have a memory for the other outputs. And then turbo from on or off, press and hold. And so that'll go into the max output of the 2,800 lumens, and it's only going to be momentary. So there's not a constant on, you have to hold the button. And the big reason they did that is because of the heat. You know, this thing does get pretty hot. If you press and hold, this thing is going to warm up after a couple minutes. You're definitely going to feel it getting warm, and they don't want it to overheat, but a nice thermal protection is that you're going to be pressing and holding the light. You're going to feel it getting warm. If you feel it getting too warm, you can just let go. I actually really like this interface. I find it super useful. And the reason is I keep it on one of the lower outputs, and I'm looking down there on the ground, you know, down by the lake, which you'll see later in the video, and or looking around in the creek or something like that, and I hear something in the woods, or I want to light something up at a little bit longer distance, and I can just pull the light up, press and hold that switch, see what I need to see, then let go, and I can look down at the ground again. I find the interface really well done. I think they did a great job on that. Another big reason why I really like the light. So again, real quick on the interface, just tap the switch to turn it on, double click, cycles through your different outputs, triple click has strobe, and then press and hold from on or off for momentary of the max output of the 2800 lumens. Okay, so there you go. That is the Olight SR Mini Intimidator. What we're going to do is we're going to take it outside, and we'll show you how this guy does outside. Alright, we're outside with the Olight SR Mini Intimidator. Got the big 40 mag light that I always use. Pretty much everybody's familiar with what one of these can do. Just going to try out the mag light. There's a little tree about 25 feet away. Dock house down there on the lake is about 100 feet away. Let's go ahead and try out the Olight. So there it is. Really, really floody beam on this. I find these very, very useful. You know, we don't have a lot of big wide open spaces. I like things to just light up everything in front of me. This is a great light for that. You can see really floody beam, just a you know, not much of a defined hotspot, if there is even a hotspot, if you want to call it that. You know, just a big bright part in the center, and it kind of gradually dims when it goes out. But really great for lighting up just a really wide area at once. You know, it's not going to do any incredible distances, but again, you can see how well it does at kind of the medium range and short range kind of stuff. So 100 feet down to there, lit up really, really well. We'll zoom in on that. And then I'll show you the different output levels. I'll crank it down just a little bit. Show you the different levels. And then there it is on the full blast. Pretty crazy the amount of light coming out of this little thing. It's going to get hot fast, but you know when you need it, and you see what you can do with that. Pretty crazy. Very impressive little light. I really like this thing. They did a fantastic job on it. It's definitely one of my new favorites. Alright, we've got a little bit more distance to work with. Let's try it out at a longer distance. Alright, got a longer range to test out the Olight SR Mini. Really cool little flashlight. I like this guy more and more every time I use it. Let's go and turn it on and see what it can do in more distance. So boat right there is 20 feet away. Got some targets set up out there at longer distances. First one's 50 yards, second one's 100 yards, tree line beyond is 130 yards. And this is just high. This isn't even that turbo, the max output. So you can see the increase that you get at a longer distance by bumping it up to the higher output. Super floody beam. You know, the longer distance shows it even better than the previous part of the video. Got that big, huge, massive hotspot, if you even want to call it a hotspot, because not a big difference between the hotspot and the spill, the dimmer part to the side. Really floody beam, just lights up a really wide area at once, and just the sheer output of it gets out to the longer distances really well. Show you what the other outputs look like. I'm going to cycle through them, and then you have the instant access to that max when you need it. Shine it around a little bit more. Really cool light. They did a fantastic job on this. Olight always does a really nice job on their flashlights. They're definitely one of my favorite brands. And this is one of my favorite lights from them. Really cool flashlight. It has gone into heavy rotation for me. I've been using this little guy myself a lot lately. Okay, so there you go. That is the Olight SR Mini. If you like it, you can buy it from us at goinggear.com. Any questions or comments, you can reach us in the comments or any of my guys at goinggear.com. And if you like the video, please subscribe. I do a lot of gear and flashlight videos. And that's it. Thanks for watching.